Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the AoStation episode 13. This is Tom here, your host for today. Unfortunately, we don't have a co-host for tonight's episode because we're doing it at a special time. We're doing it at 7 p.m. Eastern instead of 10 p.m. Eastern. So most of the people that would normally be co-hosting aren't around. We switched the time a little bit earlier, both for myself and for our European viewers. I found out that 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is like 4 in the morning Sweden time, so that shit's not gonna fly. Trying to make this as accessible to everyone as possible, so I moved the time a little bit down. If you're a Pacific time person, I guess if you're West Coast, then it's gonna be a little bit earlier in the afternoon, but it's only like 4 o'clock PDT, so whatever. We filmed the show live at www.twitch.tv/theaosstation if you guys want to watch us do this live. And by us, I mean usually just me, but sometimes we have co-hosts on, like friends of mine or people who contact me. If you want to be a co-host on the show or on one particular episode about one particular topic, you can email me at gmail, my Gmail, which is aosstation@gmail.com. So let's get right into it. There's actually a lot of news considering the fact that it's PAX East, or it was PAX East last weekend, and so a couple new things came out of that. Excuse me, I'm moving around my camera a little bit. There we go. One of them being not this. It's not a very good segue when you don't segue into the appropriate thing. Well, let's start off with Heroes of Newerth. There was a new patch that came out recently. An actual patch, not an April's Fool's patch like the last one that we weren't able to cover. Here you go. Here it's the free-to-play pool. If you guys want to check that out, pause the video. They actually created a new alt avatar for Meraxis, which is pretty much a chainsaw killer. He's like a clown with chainsaws. It's crazy. It's amazing. I love it. And if you follow us at AoStation.com, you would have already known that because I link all like relevant videos and relevant information, and I write articles on that website. So if you guys want information as soon as it happens, check out my website. They also have the Bunny Predator all avatar, which is something they do every year for Easter. But you can only buy it during that time. It's pretty cool though. I like it. And they also gave it a new voice. And they made it so that Kuldr's Sheepstick and Barbed Armor can now be disabled. I think all items should be disabled, but it's it's a question of balance. It's a question of whether or not you can buy a thing and then turn it into other stuff later. But just might as well just make it a universal trait of all items. As for balance, they reduced the gold cost of Thunderclaw by 100 gold. Not that big of a thing, but that's another I really like when they balanced when they balance stuff by small increments. If they do big balances, it fucks up the game hardcore. So do small little adjustments to make the game feel better, and see how that works. And they're doing the same with Draconis's Cataclysmic Assault. They're just buffing its duration for like 1 second, I believe, for each level. They're also changing around Legionnaire's Whirling Blade, so I believe so it's a little bit more consistent. But I haven't played Legionnaire in a long time, so I can't really say whether it's a buff or a nerf. They changed some Pandemonium stuff about his cannonball, and they changed Zephyr a small amount as well. And if you miss any of these stuff, I will link all of the patch notes in the description, so you guys can check that out later when this gets up on YouTube. And with the main thing I wanted to talk about today about Heroes of Newerth is they released a new hero. Or they talked about a new hero, which is coming out next Friday. His name is Artillery, and basically, if you're into Gundam or Robotech, he's exactly what you're looking for. He's literally a giant robot, and he has rocket launchers and a bunch of crazy shit. And it brings up the question of what direction Heroes of Newerth is going in aesthetically, because they have, obviously, it's like a fantasy universe, but they also have guys with guns and robots, obviously. So I was wondering what you guys thought about having a robot in Newerth, and whether you thought that was out of place. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's interesting for sure. And they've done other things similar, like Master of Arms has like a shotgun or whatever, and laser blasts. So it's not necessarily too far out of bounds. But let's get straight into his abilities. You can watch the hero spotlight. I'll link that in the description. But last time I showed it on the actual video, my video got taken down. So until I figure all that copyright shit out, I'll just talk about the abilities. His first ability is long-range missiles, also known as LRM, which I believe it's a channeled ability, but he shoots a bunch of missiles that go really far and pierce enemies, dealing line of effect damage. And although it's a channeled ability, I don't think it works the same as Forsaken Archer's ability, her ultimate, excuse me, because you seem to be able to move it while channeling. I don't know whether or not it's like a Bloodline Champions, it follows your cursor thing, or whether like you can click multiple times to change the trajectory, but you can change it as it shoots. But it's a very cool ability, and it works well with his other abilities as well. Fragmented Shells is his passive ability. What that does is it allows his attack and long-range missiles to apply a stacking slow to everyone he hits, which obviously it's very helpful because he can hit a lot of people multiple times with long-range missiles, and it'll probably help out his chasing game. Bunker Down is his third ability, where he places a area of effect around him, and as long as he's in it, he deals bonus damage and has increased range, as well as increased range on his long-range missiles. So it basically makes him true to his name. It makes him an artillery unit, making it so that he can hit people from really far away. And if you check out the hero description, or the hero spotlight, excuse me, you will see how ridiculously far it hit. He was at river, and it almost hit to the second tower down the lane, which is incredibly long. And his third ability is Artillery Barrage. Basically, you know, he hits a targeted area with a nuke or whatever, a big damage thing, and it deals a bunch of damage, and it stuns, and it knocks him back. So it can be used as an escape mechanism as well as a hard nuke and stun. I really like this hero overall. He's very interesting. I always wanted wanted somebody to make a hero about, you know, being an artillery unit, standing in one place and hitting from long range. And League of Legends tried that with Xerath, but I think they kind of failed. He's more like a hard nuker. He's more like a caster than an artillery unit. So I'm glad that they actually came out and just said, you know, we're making a guy. His name is Artillery. He's a big robot. I really do like him. I'm pretty psyched. And his alt avatar is this guy. It looks like his driver, but it's just like a buff dude with rocket packs on his back. Another thing I want to point out, if you watch the video spotlight to the end of the video, you will see that they have kind of a spoof at the end of every hero spotlight. But this one they had Master of Arms, Artillery's alt avatar, and Engineer sitting in like in a circle, fighting off waves and waves of zombies. And although that's usually just a spoof, I'm kind of hoping / thinking that that's kind of a push towards the fact that they're working on their map editor. Because that's I've said this time and time again, if S2Games actually finishes their map editor and lets us make maps, they will blow Riot Games and Valve out of the water. Just unconditionally. If we are able to make our own games and our own heroes and our own maps, there's no reason to play any other game. I would love that. S2Games, you will win me over if you finally make your map editor worthwhile. That being said, let's go over to some other news, namely League of Legends, because we know that's what you're here for. There's 2 hero releases recently, basically because of PAX East. One of them is Varus, the Arrow of Redemption. He's basically an archer. I've said basically a lot. He's an archer similar to like Ezreal. You know, he's got like a bow hand thing. He shoots people with his bow. And they release his abilities. His passive ability gives him bonus attack speed on every kill, more if it's a champion or an assist on a champion kill. His first ability is Piercing Arrows. The time you cast it, he draws back a single shot, which gradually increases in range and damage. The second cast, he fires his arrow, dealing the damage, but having a reduced damage per enemy hit. So it's kind of like a weaker version of Ezreal's ultimate, I'm guessing. This is me just reading it. I don't actually have any first-hand experience with the hero. While preparing to shoot his arrow, his movement speed is slowed, and after 4 seconds, it fails, but refunds half of the mana cost. Okay, so you can feint the ability for half the mana cost, and you can still move while channeling it, which is pretty cool. Second ability is Blighted Quiver. His basic attacks deal bonus magic damage and apply Blight for 6 seconds, which stacks up to 3 times. His other abilities detonate Blight, dealing magic damage to a percentage of the target's maximum health per stack, and this damage is capped against monsters, so that it's not completely rigged against jungle. His third ability is Hail of Arrows. Varus fires a hail of arrows to deal physical damage and desecrates the ground for 4 seconds. Desecrated ground reduces healing effects by 50% and slows movement speed. That's interesting. I don't actually know how many abilities have that kind of Mortal Strike debuff in League of Legends. Was it? Did Ignite has that? I believe. I know it used to. I don't know whether it still does. And I remember there was an item that let you do that. But I don't remember many actual abilities causing the Mortal Strike debuff. So that's good that they're bringing that back full force. And his ultimate is Chain of Corruption. His Varus flings out a tendril of corruption that deals magic damage and immobilizes the first enemy hit for 2 seconds. The corruption then spreads towards nearby unaffected enemies, applying the same damage and immobilizing if it reaches them. This is interesting. What this reminds me of is Kudzu from Tides of Blood, version O. Otherwise, it's pretty cool. I'm surprised that he went with the whole corruption thing. He looks like a good dude. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's like a man boy not wearing a shirt, but he looks like a good guy. Maybe not in that picture, though. So those are all his abilities. What do I think about him? I think he's interesting. The only real synergy I see is a forced synergy between Living Vengeance and Blighted Quiver. As the more attack speed, the more times you can stack his Blight. Other than that, it doesn't really seem to be very synergetic at all. That's League of Legends though for you. None of their abilities actually synergize worth shit. But he's interesting, and I'm sure he'll be fun to play. That's it. The second hero that League of Legends released recently was Hecarim, the Shadow of War. He's basically a demon centaur dude, whatever. Let's get straight into his abilities. His first ability, or his passive that is Warpath. He ignores unit collision and gains attack speed equal to a percentage of his movement speed. Oh, let's see. Spirit Breaker? Come on, Riot. You can do better than this. Spirit Breaker. So you're making Spirit Breaker. Okay. Fine. Rampage is his second ability, which cleaves nearby enemies, dealing physical damage. His third ability is Spirit of Dread. He deals magic damage to nearby enemies for a short duration, and he gains health equal to a percentage of any damage those enemies suffer. Okay. Devastating Charge. Hecarim gains increased movement speed for a short duration. His next attack knocks the target back and deals additional physical damage based on the distance he has traveled. Okay, so basically Charge of Darkness. Just getting that out there. Spirit Breaker. Also, what the hell is up with every single hero having a move that increases your movement speed and then has a stun on your next attack? Not every single hero, but like Udyr, the stupid bear guy. I'm sure there's other people I'm forgetting, and this guy, how many people need the same ability? I don't know. Onslaught of Shadows is his ultimate. He pretty much charges forward with a bunch of spectral horses behind him. They may be centaurs, I don't know. And he deals damage in a line, and he deals a shockwave when he finishes the charge, dealing additional magic damage to... and it also causes fear? Yes, it also causes fear. Basically, he's Spirit Breaker. Yeah. I'm not too thrilled about that. But, whatever. I know there were, is it Ginsu that works on LoL? Whatever. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. I know some of you helped make Dota, but just... make some new shit. Make some new ideas, please. New ideas is what this place needs. This genre needs new ideas. If we just keep rehashing old Dota shit, it's going to get old. I mean, Dota 2's already rehashing old Dota shit. We don't need you guys doing it too. Excuse me. Okay. Well, that's it for Heroes of Newerth and League of Legends. There's no Dota 2 news, nor is there Dota 1 news. So... let's go over to my website, AoStation.com. We have some news about Realm of the Titans, which we never talk about. Apparently they are going into closed beta again. They were already in closed beta about a year ago when I started playing, so having them come out with a closed beta trailer and information Seems a little out of place considering they were already in it. I don't know, but I did hear that they released some of the heroes that were only in the Chinese version, such as Anti, who is a chance-based character, and Wushu, the Drunken Master, who's a panda. Um, so yeah, I mean, Realm of the Titans is. I always liked that game. I always liked Realm of the Titans. I thought it was pretty cool. I just, it's very Chinese and it's very unfinished. So once it gets finished, I'll be able to actually make a judgment on it. On that note, let's go over to our end segment for the show called the Bloodline Champion Spotlight. Tonight's episode, we are going to cover the Randed Assassin, who, if you play matchmaking, you're probably very familiar with because he's very popular. He's your basic assassin character, your basic rogue. He's stealthy, he deals damage over time, he runs away when he gets focused. He's basically just a pain in the ass. But if you want to be a pain in the ass, you can play this character. And I'm going to tell you how. His first his ability, is Blade Fury. Just like every ability, it deals more damage. Oh no, not deals more damage, excuse me. It strikes twice, it goes wah wah. And on the second hit, it deals less damage. And it strikes the third time. If you strike for the third time, it deals less damage but stuns. No. I feel really stupid. It stuns if you're currently stealthed. So if you break stealth with this ability, it stuns the target. I feel really stupid. I've played this character before, I swear. His second ability is Blow Darts. It's a channeled ability where he shoots up to 4 projectiles, a very short range, but it's ranged enough to keep him out of danger. And each one deals damage as well as steals health over time, and it stacks. It also reduces movement speed by 10% for each stack, and it stacks up to 3 times. Well, sorry. His jump ability is Leapfrog, or Frog Leap, whatever, where he jumps twice, deals damage around him. It's a good way to juke people, because you jump once and they go, oh, run over to you, and then you can jump again. His fourth ability, is Camouflage. It's your basic stealth. You can break it to stun with Blade Fury. His projectile ability is his Toxic Bomb. It hits an area of effect, deals damage, slows, and consumes any fuck that word. I can't spell it. Pronounce it. Vicious. Fuck it. It's a poison. He poisons people. He hits people and poisons them, and it deals the remaining poison damage as well as an increased slow. And the slow is for 20% for 2.5 seconds. His last ability is Lunge. Pretty self-explanatory. Dashes forward, deals damage, and inflicts a blind, which is good. And his ultimate is a buffed up version of Lunge. It's called Venom Lunge. Deals damage and inflicts venom. And he becomes immaterial during the dash, so you can dodge projectiles, etc., etc. What Venom does is it deals 60 damage every 1 second, and deals damage to nearby allies of the target when the effect ends. Basic, you're poison. So the best thing about Randed Assassin is you can ignore a lot of his intricacies, and I didn't even know about his EX moves before I looked at them, but he's pretty basic. He's a really easy hero to play. If you've ever played a rogue in World of Warcraft, you'll feel right at home. Jump around, be invisible, stun people, poison them, run away. You want to be using Camouflage and Blow Dart and Blade Fury to stun someone. You want to use your Blow Darts as often as possible when you're out of range. You want to use your Lunge to go onto the weaker target or to get away from sticky situations. Your Toxic Bomb is very effective. Use the blind on your Lunge as a defensive CC. Juke with your Leapfrog. It's a very simple hero, but a very effective hero at the same time. So if you're learning the game and you want to have not a cheesy hero necessarily, but an easy hero that can be frustrating to play against, you want to pick Randed Assassin. And that's it for the Bloodline Champion Spotlight, guys. If you want to see more of the stuff that I do, you can check out my website at AoStation.com, where I link relevant videos as well as I write articles and talk about this stuff. I also do the show that I put on YouTube. I do this show on Twitch TV every week on Monday, now at a new time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which comes out to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as 1 p.m. if you live in Sweden. But as you can see, I post relevant videos. If you guys want to see and if you guys want to keep up with your AOS news information, we cover a lot of games, and I release stuff as soon as it pops up. We cover Bloodline Champions, Defense of the Ancients, Dota 2, Heroes of Newerth, League of Legends, Realm of the Titans, Super Monday Night Combat, and many more. Just so you guys all know. Excuse me, my voice is going. I feel a little sick, but I will see you guys next week. Oh, no. I mean, I will, but I forgot to plug myself. Excuse me. You can follow me on Twitter at Panamanana, and you can follow the AOS Station at the AOS Station. And if you follow me, you'll find my personal stuff. If you follow the AOS Station, you will see everything I post on the website, as well as things like when I go live for the show and any special events we'll be doing throughout the week. We've been playing a lot of games such as Heroes of Newerth and Bloodline Champions and Super Monday Night Combat. And the way that I do that is I send out a message on Twitter, and anybody that responds can get in the game with me. So if you guys follow me and you guys want to play, just do that. Also, there's a side note. The Super Monday Night Combat is currently still in beta, but I got 4 beta invites that I can give away to you guys. So if you want a beta invite to Super Monday Night Combat, and you currently already haven't gotten one from the beta invite already, I mean, makes sense, you can just email me at panmanana, which is panmanana@gmail.com, or aosstation@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Twitter at panmanana or at the AOS Station, and I will send you the Super Monday Night Combat beta key. Have a nice week, guys. I will see you guys next time. Bye.